What's going on, guys? I'm JT,
How's it going, guys? I'm Zeke.
and welcome to another episode of The Jazz. So today our video is going to be on what FastPasses we think that y'all should get to plan your Walt Disney World vacation. So, first of all, I'm gonna kind of explain what the FastPass Plus system is. So 60 days before your trip, before your check-in date, before your first day you go into the park, you can book 3 different FastPasses for each day. And after you book those 3, you can't book any more until you get to the park and you use all 3 of them. And then you can book one at a time. So,
Right.
For example, you use your 3 FastPasses. After your 3rd FastPass, right after you scan your band, you can book 1 more FastPass. And after you use that FastPass, you can book 1 more, and so on.
Right, so it's only 1 at a time. You can't book, 3 again.
Right.
So
you can't book 3 more
making
after
that
you
clear.
book your first 3. So, the way to book these in advance, that's how we usually do it, so we can get the better FastPasses. Because if you try and go and just use a kiosk, there's kiosks set up throughout the park. You can scan your Magic Band on, and you can choose what FastPasses. But if you get there that day and try and do that, the better FastPasses are probably going to be gone by then. So we suggest using the My Disney Experience app, which is an app on your phone. You can download it in the Play Store or the Apple Store, and you make an account, which is the app will talk you through it and how to make your account. You just type your email and create a password, and you go down to the bottom. You'll see a little plus symbol with a FP on it, and that's FastPass Plus. And so 60 days out, it'll let you start making your FastPasses. And so if you really want good FastPasses, you need to wake up really early on that first day that you're 60 days out. Extremely early.
They will go, quick. Like the top one. So there's tiers in each park. So, the top tiers will go
Right.
extremely quick.
So just make sure you get up early that day and get all the FastPasses that you want. So that's kind of how the FastPass Plus system works. Okay, so we're going to start off with Magic Kingdom. So unlike the other 3 parks, there's no tier attractions at Magic Kingdom. At the other 3 parks, the attractions are divided up into 2 tiers, Tier 1 and Tier 2. The more popular attractions that have a longer wait time are Tier 1 attractions, and you're only allowed to book 1 of those a day. And the other 2 attractions that you can get FastPass for are Tier 2s, and they're the less popular attractions and have a shorter wait time. So at Magic Kingdom, this rule does not apply. It's free game for any attraction because there are no tiers. So the first attraction that we decided to put on our Magic Kingdom list of what FastPasses you should get is probably the most popular attraction in Magic Kingdom right now. It's the line is always long, mostly 2 hours or above, and
all day. From when the park opens and pretty much until it closes, it's going to be that long.
When the rope drops, everyone's running to this ride.
Right.
And so
And if you don't get a FastPass for this,
you're either going to stand in a 2 hour long wait, or you're not going to get to ride it.
Right.
And so the number 1 FastPass that we think you should probably get is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now, basically what Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is, it's a indoor and outdoor family roller coaster. It's not as fast as Big Thunder Mountain, but it's kind of smoother than Big Thunder Mountain, and it's kid friendly, I think so. And so when you go into mine, there's animatronics and cool stuff to look at, but there is also a thrill element to it. So if any of y'all get motion sick or don't really like roller coasters, you may want to sit this one out.
Right, and it's themed around the Snow White movie. So, you have the George, Snow White, and all this.
Right. So kind of one of the cool things about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is the carts that you're in, they're hooked up to the front and to the back. And so you can kind of swing the cart left to right and back and forth. And so that's kind of another interactive element that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train has. So the second ride that we've chosen for us to do as a FastPass is Peter Pan's Flight. Now this is it's not a thrill attraction, it's a dark ride, but it has one of the longest waits all the time in Magic Kingdom. People also run to this very early in the morning. So my theory behind why I think it's a long line, even though the ride is kind of a short ride and it's a moving system all the time, the ride never stops when you're loading, and so it pumps to the people pretty quickly. But my theory behind why it's has a longer wait is because the elements that people are drawn to, like little boys are kind of drawn to the pirates and Peter Pan, and then the girls also have like Tinkerbell to look at, and it's really cool how you feel like you're actually flying over London, and it's not a thrill attraction like I said, so it's really good for the whole family to enjoy, and that's also kind of why it's a long wait because everybody can ride it and participate. And so you get in a pirate ship, and it seats 3 people across, and there's a lap bar. And like I said, it's a slow-moving attraction, and it's a family-friendly attraction, so I think that's kind of why it's a long wait. And so that's probably a good fast pass for you to use. The last attraction that we have in Magic Kingdom is Splash Mountain. So, Splash Mountain. What Splash Mountain is, it's a water ride, and you get in these logs, and you sit 2 by 2, and I think there's, how many rows? 4 rows?
Yeah.
4 rows. And so, if you want to get wet, I would suggest sitting on the right side in the second or third row, but that's just a hint if you don't want to get wet. But this ride can get really long wait times, especially in the dead of the summer in Florida in June and July, where it is super hot. I mean, high 90s, sometimes triple-digit
Humidity
temperatures.
is horrible.
Horrible.
I mean bad.
Terrible. So people kind of want to get cooled off by riding this ride, and it's also kind of a thrill attraction and a dark ride kind of combined. So when you go in the attraction, you sit down your log and you start going to the scenes. You go up a couple hills. Well, you see different animatronics, so there are different animals, and they're singing different songs from the movie Song of the South, which is a old Disney movie with part animation and part live action. And so the story's kind of based on that, loosely based on that, with Brer Rabbit running from Brer Fox and Brer Bear, and they're trying to capture him. Well, at the end, they decide that Brer Rabbit tricks them and says that I don't want to be thrown into the Briar Patch, but secretly that they don't know Brer Rabbit was actually born in the Briar Patch, so he's not really afraid of being hit by the thorns because he knows how to get weave in and out of it. So the big drop at the end is you're supposed to be Brer Rabbit getting thrown into the Briar Patch, and so you kind of trick Brer Fox and Brer Bear right there. So a reason, like I said, the reason we get this fast pass is because it gets a really long wait, and it's a good ride for everybody to ride as a family, because there's elements that everybody can enjoy if you like dark rides. Most of it is slow, but also if you like thrills, a couple of the hills, they take your stomach and stuff like that, especially the big hill at the end, which is 5 stories tall. So if you have people that are afraid of heights, or I don't really think motion sickness will be an issue with this ride, but if you're afraid of heights, you may want to sit this one out, or if you really don't like getting wet, like I said, you may want to sit on that left side.
And we haven't mentioned any of the height requirements. So each ride does have a height requirement.
Right.
So we hadn't thrown those in there, but you can look on the My Disney Experience app.
Right.
We've talked about it earlier.
And if you don't look there, there's also always a place outside of the ride, right at the entrance, for that cast members will check if they don't think that you meet the height requirement if you have little ones with you. So that's basically the 3 that we have for Magic Kingdom: Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan's Flight, and Splash Mountain. And the next park we'll be talking about is Animal Kingdom.
So Animal Kingdom is obviously based on animals. So there's 2 rides that are in the tier 1. This does have tiers. Flights of Passage, which is based on the Avatar movie, and also the Na'vi River Journey. Sorry, that is based on the Avatar ride as well. But we chose Flights of Passage because it can be a ridiculous line. Like, you have to get there at rope drop. If you're staying at Disney hotels, you got to get on the first bus to get there. But anyway, so Flights of Passage is a simulator, kind of like Soarin', but it can fit tons more people. I mean, it can fit a whole lot more people than that. And I think there's maybe 10 or 12 that can sit in each, and it's kind of like a motorcycle bike. You get on it, you straddle it, and there's a restraint that comes on your back, and I think on your calves too. But anyway, and you have 3D glasses, and at the beginning you'll be looking at this little little screen, and then all of a sudden lights will flash, and then boom, this entire thing raises, and it's just a giant screen. And you're riding on the back of the Banshee, and it's pretty cool. The reason Avatar has a long line, 2 to 3 hours a day, is just because it's a new attraction. I mean, that's basically what it is. So the next one we chose was Expedition Everest. These kind of the storyline behind it. These explorers are trying to climb Mount Everest, and along the way, all of a sudden, Yeti comes out. Boom, Yeti.
Yep.
And so now they're into the thing like, hey, we're trying to get away from the Yeti. So it's a thrill ride, it's a roller coaster, and you come to a point where the track is broken.
Right.
You're like, oh crap, what do we do now? So it actually goes backward, which is really cool. I mean, until that ride, I've never rode on one that's backwards. So then you're going backwards, and anyway, so it's pretty cool. But the reason that has a long line is just because it's a thrill ride, and it's other than Flights of Passage, that's about the only other thrill ride roller coaster in Animal Kingdom. So that has a pretty big line all the time, and sometimes there's a single rider line, so you can kind of cut in between a little bit of the lines. Sometimes that's pretty much it.
Right. Also about Mount Everest, if there's a height requirement, and if you don't like roller coasters or you get motion sick, I mean, you're definitely going to want to sit this one out. So you may want to look for another Fast Pass that's a substitute for that if you don't like a thrill attraction. So the last Fast Pass we have for Animal Kingdom is Kilimanjaro Safari. Now, this ride is good for everybody. I mean, honestly, what this ride is you get in a big truck and you go looking at animals.
Just like a zoo. Like you're literally in the zoo.
And so cool. one of the things that really makes this ride great is if you get a good driver for the truck or not. So sometimes the drivers are really interactive, and that makes the experience much better. But if you get a truck driver that's just like kind of like saying the lines that's given to them, and I mean, it's not going to be as good. But every once in a while, you'll get just that great truck driver that'll say the lines and give you the information that you're wanting to know about the animals, and they'll crack a joke here and there, or like say something that you didn't know before. And every time that we ride the ride, we'll get a truck driver, and they'll tell us a fact that we've never heard about or heard about these animals.
Right, and if you go different times of the day, like in the morning, you can go in, and that's the morning and at night, or like at dusk, is the best time to see more of the animals out, because obviously it's a little bit cooler, so it's because Florida's hot. So during the middle of the day, you really don't want to get your Fast Pass for that. So you want to either morning or at kind of toward
right. So the storyline kind of behind Kilimanjaro Safari is you're going on this trek through, and you go through different parts of Africa, and you go through the savannah, and you're supposed to be transported through different places in Africa.
Right.
And so kind of one of the cool jokes about it is you get in the truck and they're like, okay, wave to everybody at the dock. I mean, you're going to see them in 4 weeks.
Yeah, right.
And so it's really, but it's a longer ride. So sometimes you'll get stopped in the middle of the road and you'll have to see like a rhino cross the road or something. I mean, it's never it's never the same every time.
Right.
Because sometimes you'll see this animal, sometimes you see a different animal. And so just because, I mean, that ride's kind of interactive and everybody can ride it. I mean, it's good for all ages. No matter what, you can bring a baby on it and hold a baby in your lap. That's probably why that line gets really long during the day.
Right, and it takes so long, each safari. So that's why it kind of backs up, because you only have so many trucks and drivers out there.
So those are the 3 Fast Passes that we would get for Animal Kingdom. Okay, so the next park we're going to be moving to is Hollywood Studios. So the first ride that we said that you should get a Fast Pass for is probably the number 1 ride that I think you should get a Fast Pass for. And some people will probably say this is not the best ride in Hollywood Studios, which I would agree, because Rise of the Resistance is commonly known as the best and kind of hard to get onto. Which the reason behind is you have to get a boarding pass. The Fast Pass Plus is you're not allowed to get it for Rise of Resistance, and so that is the reason that we didn't choose that ride. And so Slinky Dog Dash, this is the ride we chose. It's a roller coaster, but it's family friendly, I would say. And there's also a height requirement, and it does go backwards for a little bit. But basically, the story behind it is Andy has built this track in his backyard and has turned Slinky into a roller coaster carts. And you're getting on Slinky's back, and you just ride through the roller coaster. And it's pretty cool because you can see all the Toy Story Land stuff, the new Toy Story Land theming and everything. And it gets up to some pretty high speeds.
Right.
It's not like the Barnstormer. If you like thrill attractions, you're still going to want to ride this ride. I mean, that's why the line's so long.
Yep.
I mean,
and it's different because in the middle it stops and actually pulls you back and launches you again. So you get 2 launches in this roller coaster.
So, like you said, this is a launch coaster. It kind of launches at the beginning when you go up the hill, and then it stops you, pulls you back, and Slinky says a little thing and shoots you again. So, Slinky Dog Dash, that's kind of why it has a long wait. We've seen this line backed up to the entrance to Toy Story Land. You'll see the cast member there standing there with a sign saying that this is a 2-hour long wait. And, I mean, you don't want to stand there in the hot Florida sun for 2 hours because, I mean, there is no indoor portion of this queue. I mean, you get under a little bit of a shade, which is kind of why we didn't choose Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run as the number 1 Fast Pass, because almost all of its queue is indoors and air conditioned, and there's so many carts that is on that ride that they can pump you through pretty fast. So that's why we chose Slinky Dog Dash as our number 1 fast pass. So the Slinky Dog Dash is a tier 1 ride at Hollywood Studios, and there's also 2 more tier 1 attractions at Hollywood Studios, which is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And so the other attractions that we have to choose from are tier 2 attractions at Hollywood Studios.
So the next one we chose was Toy Story Midway Mania. And pretty much the story behind that is you're being shrunk down to the size of a toy. Andy has built these games underneath his bed for the toys to play. So you're basically, you are the toy and you're playing the games. But anyway, so it's a family friendly, fun game. It's interactive. So that's why everyone kind of goes to that and leans toward that, because everyone can do it, and that's why the lines get so big. And it is inside, so you're actually in the air conditioner for that waiting. But anyway, so the next one we have is Tower of Terror. This is a drop zone, and basically the story behind that is a family got into an elevator, got struck by lightning, and
now they're ghosts.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. The only thing about that is the line tends to get pretty long, so that's why we didn't choose some of the other rides at Hollywood Studios, because that it really feels like a long line once you're actually in line. So that's definitely one you want to put on your list.
Right. And that third spot, we were kind of teeter-tottering between Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, but we just chose Tower of Terror because Rock and Roller Coaster does have a single rider option, and I feel like Tower of Terror, even though it is a thrill attraction, I feel like more people can ride it than ride Rock and Roller Coaster. Right. And so those are the 3 we kind of had for Hollywood Studios. So the last park we have is Epcot, and so there are tiers at Epcot, and so there's 3 rides that are tier 1s, and that would be Test Track, Frozen Ever After, and Soarin'. So our tip about Frozen Ever After is right when the rope drops, you go to the left to World Showcase, and the rope is opened all the way to Norway, or right to where China meets Norway at that little line, because if you didn't know, the World Showcase doesn't open until a couple of hours after the rest of Epcot opens. So they let you go past Mexico and Frozen Ever After, so you can ride that ride early when there's not a long wait. And so we kind of do that so we can save our tier 1 slot for something like Test Track, which is what we've chosen here.
So Test Track, you build a car. And they've actually updated from the old one, but this one you build a car, and it goes through 4 tests throughout the ride, and it goes 65 miles per hour. So it is definitely more of on the thrill side. So if kind of your little kids might not be more attracted to that, but maybe or may not. I don't know. But the next one we chose is Mission Space.
Right, so Mission Space there's kind of 2 paths you can take once you get there.
Right.
There's a green side, which is kind of like an easier side, which is it's kind of like just like a simulator basically. You get in this little capsule, and you have different jobs. There's a pilot. I don't remember all the jobs exactly.
Right, I think engineer,
something. There's 4 different jobs basically and you're in this rocket ship and you have a mission. And you go through the mission, and sometimes things go wrong, and you have to fix all the stuff. And there's buttons to press in there. It's super interactive, and it's the green side is pretty family friendly. But if you're claustrophobic, I wouldn't suggest getting in it because it's a pretty tight squeeze. But so the green side is kind of like the easy side, and that's more family friendly than something like the orange side.
Right, so the orange side, the green side actually has 0 Gs, but the orange side, it's kind of intense actually. So the point there, you're going a mission to Mars, and throughout the way you actually launch and actually go off, and you feel the Gs right there. They have barf bags actually. So basically,
if you get a little queasy,
you definitely do not want to ride the orange. You want to go to the green. But anyway, so it's pretty intense. So just kind of little caution there. So that's why it tracks 2 different audiences. So that's why I'm saying. So that's why it gets a little bit more crowded over there, and that's why it's a little bit longer wait line.
Right. And if you feel a little, if you want to do the orange but you feel a little iffy about it, I would suggest going to the green first, just to make sure. And so the last fast pass we've chosen is Spaceship Earth, which we kind of just call it the big golf ball because
Right.
I mean it looks
The
like
ball.
right. We call it the ball. So basically what the ball is it's a continuous track. You get in this blue cart, and it's anybody can ride this ride. Super slow. There's a narrator, and at the very end, you get to choose where you're from, and
Right.
interact with this pad, and like kind of create your own future.
Right.
And so basically, this long car of blue trains it's a time machine, and so it takes you back, and it
Through different parts of history.
right takes
Pretty
you
cool.
back through different parts of history, and kind of shows you how communication has progressed. You go through you start with like cavemen, and then you go through Egypt and see like the hieroglyphs, and you see the Phoenicians and how they created like the first alphabet, and then you get through what they kind of have is the modern time, which is still a little outdated, which is like this big
which needs to be updated.
these big computers. So they're actually remodeling mission Spaceship Earth right now.
Right.
So as of now, this is what this ride is. And so I'm not really completely sure on what the update's going to be, but as of now, this is what the ride is. And so it's family friendly. I would suggest riding it. It's kind of the icon of Epcot, and so it's kind of a must do. And so that's kind of why we have it as a fast pass. During the middle of the day, the line can get pretty long, and it's all outdoors until the very end. So you don't want to be standing there in the Florida sun just sweating really bad.
Right.
And so that's why we suggest getting a fast pass for it. So those are our tips for what fast passes to get on your Walt Disney World vacation. Now remember, 60 days out, you're going to want to schedule these things, or they're going to get booked up, and you're not going to get them. So if you have any questions about what rides and why we picked them, if something we didn't really answer, leave a comment. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.
And have a zippity doo dah day, guys.